Even though June Lockhart is arguably one of the most successful actresses of the 50s and 60s, she still can't say for sure if joining the acting industry was a blessing or a curse. As we go along in this video, you will get to understand exactly why that is. From deciding to remain unmarried since the 70s to frolicking with politicians, this is the untold life story of June Lockhart, while we also show you some of her rare photos. June was not given the luxury of deciding what she wanted to do with her life. Everything was all planned out before she was born. Her father was Canadian-American actor June Lockhart, her mother, the English-born actress Kathleen Lockhart. So it felt like rebellion if June wanted to do something outside the entertainment industry. The only time she had a say in the trajectory of her life was after burying both parents. Her grandfather was also a very popular performer. By the time young June was 8, she was already familiar with the ways of the theater. Her family felt like the time was right, so she had her stage debut in 1933 in a New York production of Peter Ibbotson. Her first official film feature would be alongside her parents in the 1938 American drama film Christmas Carol. June was young, beautiful, and very naive, a perfect target for hungry directors of Golden Age Hollywood, but her parents' presence in the industry protected her. It didn't last long, but it was just enough to buy her a good time to leave. With her parents' help, June got supporting parts in Meet Me in St. Louis, Sergeant York, All This, and Heaven 2, and The Yearling. Things got better in 1945 when she landed an even more prominent role in Son of Lassie. Lockhart's first appearance on television was in 1955 in CBS's Appointment with Adventure. Around this time, she also guest starred in a few popular television westerns, including Wagon Train, Cimarron City, Gunsmoke, and Rawhide on CBS. June's most popular roles came to her as a television mother. First as Ruth Martin, the wife of Paul Martin and the mother of Timmy Martin in the 1950s CBS series Lassie. She got into the show as a replacement for sick actress Cloris Leachman, who herself was also a replacement to Jan Clayton. All Lockhart needed was 5 years on the show, and she left an indelible mark on the hearts of her viewers. June was particularly adored by her fans because of her portrayal of powerful roles that resonated with any crowd. This was a good thing, but it was also the suspected reason for her untimely departure from the industry. From 1965 to 1968, Lockhart starred as Dr. Robinson in the sci-fi series Lost in Space. This show increased her popularity, but as the show ended, her struggle to land more prominent industry roles began. For 2 decades, June Lockhart went silent on television, on stage, and on screens. She finally made her comeback with the 1986 fantasy film Troll. The film was exactly a box office wonder, but it performed beyond average. You might not have noticed, but June and her daughter Anne would play the same woman at 2 different ages in the Lest We Forget episode of the series Magnum Pi. Her next appearance after this was as Miss Wiltrout in the 1991 TV sitcom Full House. With a career spanning nearly 8 decades, June Lockhart has established herself as a legend in the game. She has 2 Emmy nominations for Best Actress for her performance in Lassie. June also has a special Tony Award for her role on Broadway in For Love or Money. The actress was decorated with 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for motion pictures and the other for television. June's love life, like her career, needed that extra touch of magic for her not to be unhappy with it. Her parents did their best to protect her from the wolves in the industry, but for all the heartaches she suffered in her quest for lasting happiness, Lockhart blames nobody but herself. Her first marriage was with John F. Maloney in 1951. She was 26 years old and was still in search of her breakthrough role. The couple had 2 daughters, Anne Lockhart and June Elizabeth. Anne Lockhart, like her mother, has chosen the way of the theater. She began her acting career at the age of 4, and she is best known for her role as Lieutenant Shibo in the television series Battlestar Galactica. June Elizabeth is the opposite. She hates the spotlight and so lives very far away from it. Very little is known about what she has been up to ever since. Unfortunately, June and Maloney were not going to last. They didn't say anything, but it is suspected that the actress struggled with juggling stardom and the demands of motherhood, and that was what broke her home. Anyway, their divorce was finalized in 1959, just 8 years after they tied the knot. That same year, June married architect John Lindsay, and this was the longest time that she had been married. Their union lasted 11 years, and in 1970, they separated. 45-year-old June Lockhart would decide that she had seen just enough to convince her to stay single for the rest of her life, and that was exactly what she did. June Lockhart is currently 98 years old, and since 1970, she has not been romantically affiliated with any man in and outside the industry. If her parents had not put her up to stage performances, June Lockhart would have easily made a fine journalist. Her interest in current events began as a little girl when she started a neighborhood newspaper, and as she grew, they shifted slightly to focus on American presidents. Back in those days, this was one of the easiest ways to get yourself killed. As an actress, Lockhart was always on the lookout for possible ways to combine acting and journalism, and she found a few. From 1952 to 1955, the actress featured as a regular on ABC's show, Who Said That? June revealed that during her time on the show, she studied 300 quotes from the newspaper every week, and before she would leave, she was rewarded with a lifetime White House press pass. So, for the next 47 years, June attended exclusive meetings whenever she was in Washington or when the presidents were in California. At the peak of her fascination with all things politics, Lockhart, her husband, and 2 daughters were invited to a private meeting with President John F. Kennedy. Her last husband, architect John Lindsay, would try to take advantage of the opportunity by presenting his plans for Santa Monica senior citizen housing to the president, but that didn't go as he had planned. Anyway, the actress revealed that her last press meeting was in 2004, during the George W. Bush presidency. But this doesn't mean that she is not still as enthusiastic. Every morning, 3 newspapers are delivered to her doorstep in California: the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Los Angeles Times. "You absolutely must be aware of what is going on with the press and with the news," she said. June Lockhart is also guilty of keeping a few habits that people of her age might not approve of. I don't know who or what influenced her, but the actress for the longest time has been a rock music fan, even though she was from a generation of people who didn't think so much of it. During her acting years, her Lost in the Star co-star, Bill Mumy, revealed that June would insist that he and Angela Cartwright followed her to concerts at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood. Lockhart was also a big fan of David Bowie, and it was reported that she kept a picture of him in her wallet, which she carried everywhere she went. What has she been up to? Not much has been heard from the actress since she officially retired from the screens and politics. However, with age and health in consideration, many people assume that she is getting her well-deserved rest at her home in New York. This actress has nothing else to prove. Her talent, professionalism, and longevity have been and will continue to be an inspiration for generations to come. June Lockhart has an estimated net worth of $10 million. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.